to another edition of Top of the Pops.
The cream of the crop of British pop.
This is the programme that does not hang around.
1981. Top of the Pops in its 17th year.
19 million people every week.
Still on a Thursday night, holding ground against Kenny Everett, then on ITV.
It's all done in the best possible taste.
As a generation of teens donned their glad rags and seized the day.
Hey, listen, you're on Top of the Pops.
If we can write good songs and we can somehow make some sounds, then we can get on Top of the Pops.
My mum come to the school and said, Susan and Joanne have got to go because they got to go to Top of the Pops.
Under producer Michael Hurl,
Spandau. Available, right?
Top of the Pops embraced this shift and upped its game.
We had a planet Earth. Yeah, they took things very literally, didn't they?
And the show got cutting-edge titles as the studio was reborn as a full-on 80s party.
And we got something brand new for you tonight.
Complete with fire eaters and notorious cheerleaders.
I mean, I always took a bit of a dim view of them being anywhere near me.
You think, what's happened to the programme? It's kind of sex-ridden all of a sudden. What's going on?
The pop universe was in escapist recovery. After a sales dip in 1980, entertainment was back in vogue. The arrival of the New Romantics at the end of the year had glammed up the charts, and the cult was now spreading out of London. Birmingham saw the opening of new romantic haunt, the Rum Runner, with its own regional twist on the scene and a dashing house band.
The Rum Runner was like a lot of kids went back towards Bowie and Kraftwerk and this kind of European, there was a little bit of disco in there and it was a little bit more flamboyant. There was references to the film Cabaret.
It was a lot of fun, great energy, great music, fantastic sound system they had in there.
In comparison to the scene I'd been part of in Birmingham, which was sort of two-tone, X's Midnight Runners, UB40, sort of lots of bands playing in back rooms of pubs and little halls, this felt really posh and dressed up and a bit intimidating and a little bit pretentious.
You just know when things are going to take off. I went to a pub one night and I got 30 bits of paper. I just started a breakfast show. And every request was for Planet Earth. These are all different people. I've only played this song twice on the breakfast show, and everybody wants this song. I said, they're going to be enormous.
And spinning like an apple just outside the top 40, Duran Duran.
We always saw ourselves releasing singles. We wanted to be a singles band, and we wanted to be on Top of the Pops.
The song itself, when we wrote it, we took all the elements that we liked and merged the sound, a little bit of Giorgio Moroder, a little bit of chic, disco, dance groove, and a little rock guitar, and a little bit of glam, and suddenly that was our sound.
Once they're in the charts, they're on the pops, and Top of the Pops really pull out the stops. They want to present this new band brilliantly, and they even made them a giant planet Earth.
Yeah, they took things very literally, didn't they? Like you said, Soft Cell had a padded cell, and we had a planet Earth. But yeah, they made an effort, and the people there were always really great. It was fun.
Duran Duran.
As the year progressed, the show saw Duran swap a new romantic image for the heavy fringes and shoulder pads of a different kind of glam.
Then walk right out to the ball and check there's a camera rolling on her back.
ethic felt at the time very anti-fashion. Whereas this felt like it was all about hair and makeup and dressing a certain way. And also felt like you had to have a certain amount of money to buy those clothes.
We got some money from EMI and we'd gone shopping in London. We'd been to Anthony Price's store on the King's Road. I think we'd gone to PX in Covent Garden and bought some gear. So we kind of like upped the visuals a little bit.
While Duran were swanking it up in Chelsea and putting down the deposit on their yachts, the locals of Southend, embracing a DIY punk ethic, were going electro.
Such a small affair, we'll have someone closing like the nightclub door.
We used to rehearse really a lot. There was nothing else to do in Essex and Basildon.
Here again, and when you speak, I watch you move away and seem so sure.
We were playing music for our friends that we could dance to, move to, that our friends would like too. And that was really, that was probably about as far as our ambition went at the time.
The successful local band Depeche Mode. Their music is a blend of electronic futurism and disco.
Let's all get together, come and hold my hand. Baby, it's a bright new day.
Suddenly, at the turn of the 80s, synthesizers weren't expensive anymore. You know, Japanese companies were making very accessible models.
Then we just gradually discarded our guitars for synthesizers. It was just a natural progression. We just liked the sounds, it was good.
With Depeche Mode, what you had was some young kids making a pop band at home and making these incredible sounds.
Gave us the ability to realise, well, if we can write good songs and we can somehow make some sounds, then we can get on top of the pop.
Let me introduce you to a new band called Depeche Mode. Now, they had a record out earlier this year that didn't do everything it might have done, but this one, New Life, is just immaculate.
Complicating, circulating, new life, operating, generating, new life.
When we first went to Top of the Pops, and I think a few times after that as well, we'd get on the train and we'd put our synthesizers in a suitcase, wrap them in the blankets and stuff so they wouldn't break. And then walk to the BBC. I think that went on for quite a while until we realised other people were showing up with people helping them to do that.
Complicating, circulating, new life.
Dave Gahan got into futurism by commuting to trendy London clubs from Mum's in Basildon.
There wasn't any of that flash. It kept pretty down to earth for a long time. We were young, you know, I mean, we were still teenagers. Incredible when I think about it now.
The cute, all-ears charm of a young Depeche Mode won them a string of hits and Top of the Pops appearances. Something that had eluded Sheffield's finest synth band, even though they'd appeared on the show the year before.
Famously, the Human League, they got Top of the Pops, went on Top of the Pops, single went down. You have to ask yourself why.
The blokey and art school version of Human League failed to charm the charts, which led to a split, with main synth players Martin Ware and Ian Craig Marsh departing, leaving just singer Phil and back projection man Adrian holding it all together.
Do you think they're wiser than in the past? How long do you think it's gonna last?
I went up to see the Human League in Sheffield, recording in their home studio. But they couldn't actually play instruments in the conventional way. When they were demoing Boys and Girls, they had all the numbers written on the keyboards. So they couldn't play a chord or anything, you know, it was like one finger.
Usually with a synthesizer, you know, you don't have to be manually good at all. That was why we turned to them in the first place, because no one could learn how to do the guitars either.
But two events would transform the Human League. Phil hired Stranglers producer Martin Rushent.
Somehow the songs become bigger. He gave them a rounded sound. He took the potential of the tunes they had and emphasised the melody. And when you get that, you could actually appeal to a much broader audience.
And Phil, thinking of the band's image and appeal, headed into Sheffield's clubland and persuaded two teenage girls he met on a nightclub dance floor who'd never performed professionally to front the band with him.
We were both 18, we were doing A-levels at school. My mum had got a phone call. She had to come to the school where Joanne and I were having an English lit lesson. She banged on the window first and then she came into the class and said, Susan and Joanne have got to go because they got to go to Top of the Pops. And everyone hated us in sixth form anyway, so they were all like,
Put your hand in a parting wave, pass around.
They very much were the girl in the audience. Actually, the Top of the Pops audience, they were just ordinary fans.
There was no contrived image. Our clothes were what your mum had bought us at a jumble sale.
No, that black dress my mum used to wear, the black dress you wore was one of my mum's.
Was one of her mum's original dresses. Yours she'd got from a jumble sale.
Get around town when the people look good, when the music is loud. Get around town, you need to stand proud.
We weren't extraordinary. We're not the best singers in the world by any stretch of anybody's imagination. We'd have never got through the X Factor. We can't dance very well. You know, we're not Cindy Crawford.
You two were always like stars. That was the odd thing. That you took on Top of the Pops or anything as you would take on a club in Sheffield. It meant exactly the same to you.
The shades from a pencil tear, eyes around. A cold in an eyelid brushed with tear.
I feel really proud that we did one of the weirdest ever successful singles. That must be the weirdest record that's ever got in the top 10, isn't it? It's so strange. It was a very empty record. And it had motored along in a sort of a cavernous, threatening way. And then we hit the bit that we nicked from Iggy Pop, where it goes, And why did people buy that?
It was odd and we got away with it. It went up the charts, it didn't go down.
In '81, a generation of kids from the clubs came up with a new, joyful take on pop music. And moreover, they pioneered a novel way of presenting their songs on Top of the Pops.
Pop videos are a growing phenomena, capturing large slabs of free airtime on pop and children's shows. This year, Top of the Pops has attracted more than 20
Gone to the darkness.